Good afternoon and welcome to New York Rebels availability. We're joined by Jochen Schneider and Julian de Guzman. We will start with opening remarks from Yoken, and then we'll take questions after. Jochen, you have the floor.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Zach. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our postseason press conference. Last year, we had the postseason press conference mid of December. This year, end of October, and that already shows that we played a season which we did not expect. I think we played 3 really good games in Leagues Cup. Didn't make it, although we had 6 points, didn't make it to the quarterfinal. I think we played 3 really good games in US Open Cup. Unlucky, not only to lose the game in Philadelphia, but also our goalkeeper, AJ Marcucci, with a serious injury. But we did not do well enough in MLS regular season. I think at home it was good. It was okay. We won 10 games, but especially on the road, only winning 2 out of 17 games, then you don't deserve to make the playoffs, and that's hard to accept. Not to make it for the first time in 15 years. So we used the last days and 1.5 weeks to go through the situation. We also discussed the situation with our colleagues at Red Bull Soccer. And then we as a club made the decision to part ways with Sandro Schwartz and his assistant, Volkan Bulut. We have nothing than the highest respect for both of them, and we want to thank them from the bottom of our heart for their work, their dedication for the club, their energy they put into our team, into our club every single day over the last 2 years. They raised the standards clearly around our first team. And they will always be remembered as the coaches, Sandro as the head coach, who was leading us through an incredible playoff round in 2024 with all these wins on the road and the first Eastern Conference Championship in club's history, and second MLS Cup final in club's history. We were close to win the cup, but John McCarthy and the Post were standing in our way. So we had to accept, as sportsmen do, the defeat in LA. But this was an incredible run, and we only can say thank you to Sandro, to Volkan, and also to their wonderful families who had been and who will be great supporters of the New York Red Bulls. Please let me come to my situation. My plan and Red Bull's plan was that I stay for 1 more year until the end of 26, until my wife Annabella got the diagnosis mid of September of a brain tumor. And that changed everything. And well, it was just there's only one solution, what to do in a situation like this. And that's why I had to make the decision to leave the club and to go back to Germany and to look after my wife and our 3 wonderful children, Carl, Pauline, and George. And this is the most important now for me. And nevertheless, I'm really grateful for the 3.5 years I had here. I think we changed a lot. We changed the culture of the club. We changed the communication. I think it was a difficult time for the club coming out of COVID, being disconnected by the rules, by the laws. And we overcame this situation. The sporting department has never been as aligned as it is right now. Communication never had been better. Academy is a clear priority. RB2 is a clear priority also because of this gentleman who built up an outstanding roster this year. And first team, second team, academy aligned, as I said before. That's wonderful. And we are perfectly connected. I want to say thank you to a few people, and please forgive me if it's a little bit too long, but this is the only chance I have to say thank you. I don't want to use that opportunity. In the first instance, I want to thank Oliver Mintzlaff, the CEO of Red Bull, and Marc de Grand Prix, our wonderful general manager here at the club, for their trust in me, for the belief in me, and that they made the decision to bring me back to the club. I was working from 15 to 17 already in the Red Bull global team, and I was working in those days closely together with the New York Red Bulls. So can't thank Oliver and Marc enough for that. Going back to 2015, I also want to use this opportunity to thank Mr. Mateschitz, Ralf Rangnick, and Oliver Mintzlaff once more to bring me to Red Bull. Red Bull is not only by far the best energy drink in the world, or the only one, it's also an amazing company, the best employer you can imagine, and by far the best organization in the world of sports on this planet. And I'm proud to say that I will be a Red Bull for a lifetime. I want to thank Dennis Hemlet, with whom I worked together at his time here as a sporting director. Great human being, and I wish him nothing than the best for his next challenge now, next season in MLS Next Pro. And I want to thank Julian de Guzman, who is with me since 2 years. I will talk a little bit more about Julian in the next 2 minutes. I want to thank the 3 head coaches I was privileged to work together with. Sandro, I was talking with him. Troy Lesane, who did an incredible job leading us into the playoffs in 2023, when we had been out of the playoffs for 33 games, 93 minutes. And then we scored that final goal in the 94th minute and made it to the playoffs. And I wish also Troy all the best for his next chapter in MLS. He really deserves that. And I want to thank Gerhard Struber, who is doing an incredible job now at Bristol City in England. I want to thank the 2 RB2 coaches I was working together with. That's Ibrahim Zekaya and Michael Bradley, both of them amazing human beings, great coaches. And I can't thank them enough for the partnership we went through in the last 3.5 years. I want to thank also 2 gentlemen with whom I work closely together. That's Sam Goldberg, our head of player personnel. I always call him the brain at Red Bull training facilities because he's so much smarter than I am. And my assistant, Noah Gulden, who's working now with the Red Bull Soccer in Munich. I want to thank MLS, and I want to name the people I was working the closest together. That's Nelson Rodriguez, that's Paul Graver, that's Christina Labrie, and Jeff Goose. And I want to thank them for their patience with me, because sometimes for us Europeans, MLS is quite a challenge. And I'm really grateful for all the conversations we had, and I wanted nothing than the best for the league. I also want to thank Bro, Mark Geiger, and Alan Kelly, and we had some conversations, but I know they're all doing their very best, and I have a lot of appreciation for the referees. And whenever we had not been in agreement with some decisions, that's life, that's sports. But in a moment like this, I always say to our guys, we should not forget what Jock Stein said, the former Glasgow Celtic and Scotland manager: score 3 goals and you take the ref out of the game. It's as simple, right, Julian? I want to thank all CSOs within MLS and for the cooperation over the last 3.5 years, but especially in the last 24 hours for their support for me and my family. Of course, I want to thank our fans. Without our fans, this game would not make any sense. Their loyalty, their support for us was incredible, will be incredible. So I thank all our fans, the Red members, and our supporter groups. And of course, I want to thank you, the journalists. Thank you for the cooperation. I'm really grateful that you did not call me as often as the journalists in Germany did. So thank you for that. And that's it. Really happy about every single day I was privileged to work for this club and privileged to live in this beautiful country, clearly number 2 in the world. So thank you all for that. And now I want to come to Julian de Guzman. I know him for a long time. You know, when he played Bundesliga, he didn't know me in those days when he played for Hannover's 96. But when you look at his CV, at his history, it's impressive. You know, when a young boy at the age of 16 is leaving Toronto, his home country, Canada, and going to Europe, and not going to any city. He's going to one of the toughest places, Marseille, to make it, to fulfill his dreams. And then going to Germany at the age of 18, fighting his way through second Bundesliga, going to La Liga, back to MLS, playing 87 games for Canada. And when I met him for the first time 2 years ago, I immediately knew this is the right guy. This is an amazing human being, a great leader on and off the pitch. And I'm just grateful for the 2 years we had together. And I could be not happier, prouder than to have him as my successor here at Red Bull New York as head of sport and CSO of the club. He will lead this club, the sporting department, into a wonderful future. I said before, academy doing great. RB2, I hope that we will bring some silverware to the club in 2 weeks, and the first team will bounce back, no doubt about that. Really excited to see what you, Julian, and what the team is doing, and want to wish him all the best. Thank you for the last 2 years, and good luck for the future.
Wow. Very, very thankful and incredible words, Jochen. And, you know, it has been, I would say, one of the most unexpected dreams to be working with a fine gentleman like this. You don't find individuals in the game as often as you do when you cross paths with Jochen Schneider, and being able to have the privilege and pleasure to learn and develop under him during my start here at Red Bull, and the years that I have spent with him. It has been extremely impressive to know these type of human beings exist, not just in sports, but in life in general. So for me, extremely proud of obviously this opportunity, but it has certainly been a roller coaster of emotions when you depart and move on from people you learn to grow with, you become friends with, you build relationship with, and you know, it wasn't easy seeing Sandro go. It wasn't easy seeing Volkan go. It is not easy seeing Yoken leave as well. So these are the individuals we will continue to hold high, and my next steps in life and my career is to really represent them in a very high light and high standard as well. For me, this is a great opportunity and a great pleasure to sit in here as the head of sport for the New York Red Bulls. Extremely excited, determined, and looking forward to creating more greatness for this club. I've seen the potential it has. I've known about this club playing against them back in 2009 when we lost at Giant Stadium 5-0 TFC. I'll never forget this, but ever since then, you learn so much more about Red Bull, and now being a part of this family, I know that greatness is everything, and this is exactly what I will bring to this group, not just on the field, but off the field. But I must say thank you to what Jochen has done, creating the pillars and the standards and the expectations that we need to see moving forward at this club while I sit in this position as a head of sports. So looking forward to this new journey in my life. And for me, just seeing the success that we have done and created since I've been here, you know, making the finals of the MLS Cup, winning the trophy of the Eastern Conference finals as well. You could see the potential and the excitement that this club deserves, and there's more to come. And I'm very clear as to what we will see moving forward with a fresh beginning, I would say, but also a very important history that we will carry moving forward.
We'll now take questions in the room. Please raise your hand and I'll call you, ask Julian or Yoken a question. go to James.
Thank you, James Burley with The Shot Magazine. First and foremost, Yoken, best wishes to you and your family moving forward. We're all looking
Thank you.
forward to seeing what comes next for you, and we all hope for the best. My question is for Julian. With your elevation from sporting director to head of sport, how are you anticipating your day-to-day to look different, your overall goals and tasks, and can we expect someone to fulfill the sporting director vacancy as well? And I guess a two-parter, in addition, obviously also a vacancy to the head coach. Has a search for that begun, and is someone like Michael Bradley or Ibrahim Sakaya a candidate? Thank you.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of work to do. Clearly, day 2 in the position. I certainly want to evaluate one. What does that sporting director position look like? There's nothing that needs to be decided at this moment. We clearly have a lot of great experts within the staff that have done a great job since I arrived here, and we want to continue to work with them. So that will stand as is, and we will have maybe a better decision down the road as to what that looks like regarding the sporting director position. As for the head coach, I mean, there's going to be a deep dive into what that candidate looks like, and we need to make sure this is somebody that fits the philosophy, the playing style, and also the expectations and the priorities of developing players as well. We want to succeed, and we want to do our due diligence when we come to that decision.
Next, we go to Voss.
Thank you very much for the time, Jochen. First and foremost, well wishes to you and your family. I hope nothing but the best for you and
Thank you.
whatever comes next for them. And for Julian, I just wanted to ask you on what your vision is for the next head coach. I know we kind of just touched on it briefly, but how can you see him maybe bringing your vision to the first team, and how can you now put a stamp to this first team on your own, having been mentored by Jochen Schneider over here?
Yeah, it's, for the head coach, it's going to be extremely important that we are bringing in clearly a leader to lead the locker room, lead the players, lead the organization based on the philosophies and visions that I have for this club. I learned a lot. One, as a player, two, as a sporting director under Jochen, and today, I'm very, very certain that based on the philosophy that we want, the playing style, we will see different compared to what we've seen in the past 12 years based on the philosophy and styles that we've seen. And I think when you look at Red Bull in the past, we've been a very high intensity, energetic team. But I think we could add a lot more in terms of the playing style, bringing in players with footballing IQs. You want guys who could perform and with excitement in the attack, and we want to play, fun football where it allows us to succeed and win and develop players. And those are the things that this coach will certainly have moving forward.
Next, go to Christian.
Soccer.
Jochen, obviously, just to echo what everyone else is saying, hopefully the best to you and your family through
Thank
this
you very much.
tough time. Julian, in terms of the decision at head coach, obviously, you look at the body of work that Sandro had last season in 2024, getting the club to the MLS Cup final. I think some people will be a little shocked to say, why not give him another year or two? What was it? And maybe there's a joint decision, so if it was, feel free to step in. But what was it about the timing right now that you felt there was a need for a new head coach and a new direction for the organization there?
Yeah, I mean, collectively as a group, we had to certainly evaluate the performance and the outcome of the season. It has been a disappointing season if you really look at it from outside looking in, not making playoffs after 15 years of making playoffs. I think that should be a part of the Red Bull culture. We are a playoff team, and there's no other discussion around that, and that should be our starting point. I recall last year, the press conference that I saw Jochen present where, okay, we made playoffs and great. We can't just, call it that. We should now push ourselves to achieve more. So, the outcome of this season, we underachieved, and that's very clear. And it's I think it's also important to know that there will be a different look for sure, not just from a coaching standpoint, but from the player roster planning. And it's going to be a different look where it has to fit the philosophy and playing style that we want to see, or I want to see going into next season. And it's not the old school Red Bull that we've been used to seeing for many years. Red Bull that I've played against as well. We could add more. We could add more flavor. We could add more style. We could add more creativity, especially in attack, and not so much dependent on just 2 DPs to convert goals for us. I think there's a lot more we could add to the roster. So the timing of bringing in a head coach, I think it makes a lot of sense, and we want to turn this chapter into connecting this club, New York Red Bulls, to the culture here in the U.S.
Next, we go to George. Yeah, sorry.
On that note, have you started talking with candidates? I understand you're only a couple days into the job, but have you started talking to candidates and putting a list together? I know there are a couple names that are floating out there that have expressed interest, but have you started that process already?
We started looking. We started looking at candidates for sure. Again, it has to be, for me, somebody that has a very, very good of understanding the MLS, and then that's I think a good starting point. And then after that, we will look more into how this coach could suit the needs of Red Bull.
Go to George.
George from Exchange FC. Yoken, just like everybody said, you've been amazing to deal with. Best of luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
I need to ask, you mentioned the DP spot, and it seemed like leaving that DP spot open this year, people might have thought of it as waving the white flag. Was that last spot intended for somebody and you guys put all the eggs in the basket for this somebody and then it didn't work out? Or was there other theory behind not having that last spot open, especially after you just saying how important that is?
Yeah, I think, the intent, to be honest, was you expect Lewis Morgan to be fit. No one's talking about a third DP, We had the idea that with Lewis Morgan, with Emil Forsberg, Choupo-Moting, we're talking about titles. And this was a gray area where we weren't sure, do we make the move on a DP? Do we wait for Lewis Morgan to come back? There was a lot of balancing acts, I would say, until we had to make a smart decision. And I think the smart decision was bringing in a replacement, for in the midfield. When you look at the Gustav Berggren filling in that midfield position, that brought more stability, more of a long-term idea as to what this could look like now with this new philosophy, and he suited that. When you're not prepared to bring in a DP, you don't want to rush into bringing just a DP, because that is a long-term decision that could impact the future of the club. Sure, there were names out there. I mean, Timo Werner was a fan favorite, but would he have been a player that made sense to Red Bull based on what we want to see, especially in the future? Probably not. So it was not waving the white flag saying that we were giving up. We strongly believe we had a playoff team. This is a team that on paper you could say should be in the playoffs. We just missed the targets, and especially on the road, it was clear that this team had lost touch in terms of performing and getting those gritty results like we showed last season. So I think that was probably a much more bigger highlight versus us waving the white flag.
Next, we go to James, and we'll take some questions on Zoom.
Julian, I don't think I said congratulations on the elevation in your
Thank
role,
you.
so I'll say that now. To piggyback off George's question, you mentioned there will be a new look to the squad players. I know it's still early. Is it possible that the squad looks at 2 DPs for U22s or go the 3 DP route? And what areas on the pitch, you mentioned the attack, are you specifically looking to improve upon in 2026?
Well, we currently have our 2 DPs, and that's very clear. And it is a big target to bring in another DP. You said it's early for us. We're probably well in the midst of it right now. So we've been working on that. And, so I think it's important that we come into preseason extremely prepared with our 3 DPs, with our 3 U22s. And I would say the attacking area is going to be extremely important. We can't depend on just Emil and Choupo to be scoring goals for us. There's a lot more we could add around them to support them. And they've played an extremely amount of minutes this year that we didn't expect them to play, but they performed. And as you know, it's a team effort, and they need more support. So the players that come in are going to be guys that not just supporting them, but there will be also difference makers. And I think in the attack, it's going to be a big highlight as to who we bring in going into next season.
Next, we'll go to Zoom and we'll go to Charles Bell.
Hi, gentlemen, can you hear me? This is Charles Bell with Soccer. I wanted to ask two questions. The first was, was there any action items or feedback from the recent visit of Jurgen Klopp and other members of Red Bull Global to the facilities? And then Jochen, I wanted to ask if, as you depart, if you could take share a little bit of the insight that you gained from kind of where New York Red Bulls sit in the big picture in a rapidly evolving league, particularly with your crosstown rivals building their stadium and maybe posing a greater threat in the coming years.
Yeah, I'll first answer the question regarding Jurgen Klopp. I mean, Jurgen Klopp, Mario Gomez, these are two individuals who consult us as much as they can, and you know they're learning more about the league than anyone else is within Red Bull. So, but in terms of their footballing minds and the direction they give us and support, I mean, it's I would say some of the best in the world you could ever work with. So. But in the end, I mean, we are here making the final decisions for what's best for New York, and you know, we will always lean on those two individuals to support us whenever we need it.
Well, our club within MLS, I clearly see us as a competitive club who will be able to fight for trophies in the upcoming years, and with all the support of our leadership team. I want to thank all our employees at front office, training facilities, the support of Jurgen Klopp and Mario Gomez and the Red Bull soccer team. We developed the club in a great way over the last 3.5 years, so I'm thankful for that. And to be honest, this is the postseason press conference of the New York Red Bulls, so I'm not in the mood to talk about any other MLS club. Hope for your understanding.
Next, we go to Dan.
Yoken, I can relate to what you're going through after what I went through with my father, and I am so sorry for what you are going through right now. If I can ask you, you had successful transfer windows, bringing over Emil, Forsberg, Noah Ayla, Choupo-Moting. Was it frustrating not to be successful this past summer window when you're trying to help the club? And also for Julian, I will not remind you who scored the last goal in that 5-0 victory at Giant Stadium. But if you can give us an update of what's going on with Cameron Harper, that you also lost after his injury in Austin. What's his prognosis?
Yeah, thanks for your question. Great question. And yeah, to be 100% honest, we had not been happy with the two transfer windows this year, and we expected more from our signings. Unfortunately, Victor Bogac and Marcelo Morales came injured. Took them quite a while to make it into the team, and it's not easy when you come from countries far away from the US to adapt to life, to the league, to the style of play, to the travel, etc. So we're expecting a lot from both of them, also from an experienced player like Alexander Hack. We have high expectations for them in the upcoming season. And when you finish like we finished this year, for sure, you cannot be happy. But I'm really hopeful and convinced that Julian and the team will turn the page around and will present a much better roster next season. And I'm also excited to see, when you look at RB2, our young players, how they perform, how they develop, if they come up. It's exciting to see, and this is the Red Bull way to bring these players up next season to the first team and to see them here at Sports Illustrated Stadium.
Yeah, to answer regarding Cameron Harper, I mean, he has made some big improvements and leaps in his rehab. A couple of weeks ago, he just came back from the APC facility, and it was very positive to see where he's at in terms of his next steps. And the expectation would be January is to have him slowly integrate back with the team. Again, we don't want to rush him, and we know that he's going to be a valuable asset to to the club, and based on his performance and what he could add, whether it's higher up the pitch or in the back line. But Cameron Harper is making positive progress.
Everyone, we have time for 2 more questions. Julian and Yoken. We'll go to Joe Pantono first and then finish up with Luca. Joe, you have the floor.
Yoken, just wanted to wish you all the best for you and your family moving forward.
Thank you.
This is for Julian. You had touched on just not having Lewis Morgan for most of the season, and considering his injury history, specifically 2 of the last 3 years, is this somebody that you can potentially rely on moving forward? Thanks.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm seeing Lewis Morgan every day. You could see the smile grow more and more when he is getting closer to kicking the ball again. It's been certainly frustrating for him. I really feel for a player like Lewis, because he's gone through this already in 2023. The fire he has to come back onto the field is what he's shown in 2024. And this is the hope we have for him going into 2026. So we're being patient with him. Did we push him? For sure. I mean, we're going to push a guy like Lewis because we need him. But at the same time, this is a guy that's going to push himself to the limits, and we want to make sure we are careful with this offseason so he comes back fit. But everything is pointing in the right direction for Lewis, and he's making a really, really positive progress going into the last stretch of this year.
And we'll finish up with Luca.
Hi, Yoken. Hi, Julian. Thank you for your time. Luca with the Red Bulls experience. Yoken, best of luck for the next chapter. We appreciate your service to the club.
Thank you.
And Julian, you mentioned before your vision for evolving the style of play a bit, potentially bringing in a coach with less experience. How empowered do you feel to kind of make your stamp on this next era for the club? Do you feel like the oversight of the style from Red Bull Global is something that you're allowed to kind of tweak and mold to your liking, and what vision do you kind of have for the player profiles that'll help bring that to life, and a coach might be able to put more of a stamp on the Red Bull style of play that potentially coaches prior. Thank you.
No, thank you. And I think the best example as to how I see Red Bull football moving forward is our second team, Red Bull 2. And if you come out and watch a game, or if you see a match and the way they perform, it's some of the most exciting football I've seen in my time involved in football for the past 30 years. So it's fun. It's attractive. It's got creativity. It's got players who could play the game. It's got a bright future. Andy Rojas is a great example as to what the future looks like for Red Bull, and we need more of that. Rafa Mosquera, Noem Benedetti. I mean, these are the players that I've played with in my career, at the peaks of my career in La Liga, Bundesliga. I want that to translate here in New York, and we need that here for our first team. So the second team that we've seen this far, and hopefully they get to lift a trophy in the next couple of weeks, is the best example as to what my vision and philosophy looks like for the future of Red Bulls.
Yoken, Julian, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So